Hello everyone, I'm Casper Kuma and welcome back to an English haunting. Now we are in the professor's lab. We just got here and it's time to look around. Oh yeah, we have the what is she called? The Séance lady? I don't know what she's called. Medium, that's it. She's not a small. It looks like a high-powered electric generator. Why would the professor need such wattage? I don't know, to do mad scientist stuff. Like, don't they all need it? We'd be left in the dark. Oh, the switch, yeah. This box is full of technical drawings. I'll take a closer look. Oh, it can't be. Beatrice, what have you found? Come, take a look at this. Is this what I think it is? The box of revelations. Nelson couldn't stop talking about it. High-tech machinery that can reveal the hidden. A real-time viewer of the beyond. A fantasy. We theorized a lot about this device, but we gave up when we assumed it was impossible to build it with existing technology. However, from what I see, yes, it seems the professor found the key. If we connect... Oh my god. Of course! It could work! Take a look at this document. I read, designed by Professor Nelson Ward and Professor Patrick Moore. Isn't that our thingamajig that we left in the basement? Yes, the core part of this machine is based on my electromagnetic wave booster. Thanks to that, I've been able to contact Thomas Highmore at the old Benwell Street house. There's several names associated with parts of the machine. Let's take a look. Eugene Wood. One of the pieces would fit into a side spring. Eugene Wood. Does that name ring a bell? He's a renowned photographer specializing in post-mortem images. Mourning portraits. Photographs of the deceased for their family's remembrance. I find it a distasteful practice. I hope they do not photograph me like that when I die. In fact, I have stated in my will that I want to be cremated and emptied down some drain. I hope my last wish is fulfilled. I think that piece is a photographic plate. One of the functions of the Box of Revelations is to visually record the surroundings. Well, that'll be good for our evidence needs. This Florence Cook guy. That tube is meant to contain ectoplasm, correct? You're right. Since ectoplasm is the materialization of certain elements from the beyond, we have theorized that, if treated and enhanced, it could be a strong conduit for displaying the invisible reality. But Florence Cook... She's even more fraudulent medium than you, if I may be so bold. Florence Cook would manifest an entity called Katie King through her body. And yes, it was proven to be a fraud. And the professor knew it. That's why I'm concerned about entrusting the collection of ectoplasm to Florence Cook. This here, it's a geometric figure. This space is intended for the machine's generator. For the Box of Revelations to be autonomous, we need significant power. We conducted several tests synthesizing and miniaturizing various generators. We were unsuccessful. It was one of the reasons we couldn't carry out a prototype. However, it seems that Nelson found an alternative. There's no doubt about it. But I don't know what that figure could be. Professor Silas Bennett. Who are we talking about? Mr. Bennett? The dead guy? Silas Bennett is a reputable yet eccentric archaeologist. He spends much of his time searching for artifacts out of time and place. This has led to a rather dubious reputation. Artifacts out of place and time. OBARTs. That's what they call them. Is an acronym for out of place artifact. Maybe not. Oh, it was Benwell, not Bennett. Fascinating. The Box of Revelations is a reality. It can be made. With those 3 missing pieces and relying on Professor's judgment, yes. Do you know what this means, dear friend? Thanks to it, you'll be able to prove that those skeptics on the board, or to prove to those skeptics on the board that you were right. What am I saying to those skeptics? To the whole world! Come with me. Getting a little ahead of ourselves here, man. This device caught my attention, but I didn't know what it was until I saw the plan for the Box of Revelations. Yes, indeed. It appears to be a prototype of sorts. Let's see what you think of my proposal. I've noticed some missing adjustments and some elements that could be improved. I could take care of that while you get the missing pieces. But what about the professor? Should we suspend our search? We're at a dead end. We can waste time wandering around London, or we can save your department at the university. We'll worry about Nelson later. Something tells me he'll show up eventually. Well, what do you say? If the machine works, we can try it at Benwell Street. So count on it. Excellent. Let's recap. We need ectoplasm sample. Nelson pinned his hopes on Florence Cook. I have doubts about this matter. It's well known that Florence Cook was a fraud. It's also well known that Nelson is the most skeptical investigator in all of London, England. Trust him. Nelson must know something we don't. Alright, where can we find Florence Cook nowadays? She's still conducting spiritualist sessions. She has her cabinet on Lark Hall Lane. Ding! I'll head there. Professor Silas Bennett is the key to making the machine autonomous. An archaeologist, not an engineer. I wonder how he can help us. We'll have to ask him. Do you know where we can locate him? Yes, he has an office at the London Archaeological Society. Ding! And last but not least, we have Eugene Wood, a photographer. The machine can photographically record its surroundings, and that compartment in it seems intended for a photographic plate. But not just any photographic plate. If it were, Nelson wouldn't have the trouble of finding one. I'll pay Bennett a visit and we'll find out. Ding! Well, very well, Professor Moore. Pay a visit to those people. Meanwhile, I'll work on the machine adjustments. Bring me the pieces as you acquire them. There's no time to waste. Let's get to it. Okay, sure, but I should probably check around here first, just in case there's something I need. Professor Ward's famous caustic archive. He used to have it in his office. Apparently, he moved it here recently. I spent a lot of time reading its files over and over. Hold on a minute. I think he updated it with 4 new cases. See? See? It's good that we look. They seem interesting, but I'm not sure if it's a good time to read them. Oh, bummer, dude. Oh, but we can. Huh. Case of the Sheet Ghost. Sir Clarence Hoffman, the once famous theatrical author, required my services as he claimed several strange phenomena were happening in his house. The residence is near Piccadilly, and I will omit the street and number by express desire of his wife. Hoffman's tale was that at midnight, several times already, a figure wandered through the corridors of the house. The story was corroborated by a servant, someone called Fritz Mayer. Mrs. Hoffman did not want to talk about it, though. Her husband accused her, explaining that it was hard for her to give any details about the phenomena, as the mere mention of them affected her nerves. Half an hour before midnight, I asked the inhabitants of the house to stay away from the area of the apparition's activity, which is the living room. 5 minutes before the clock struck 12, I stood in the corner of the main corridors so that I could have a wide view at 12 o'clock. I could see a dancing shadow on the far side of the corridor. I drew closer, hiding in the shadows so that I would not draw the attention of the phenomenon, until I realized it was a figure in a sheet with holes for the eyes. I pulled the sheet with outrage, and with a bit of curiosity about which member of the household was using such a trite trick to waste my time. Mrs. Hoffman arrived in a rush when she heard me scolding the German servant, and told me with an embarrassment that made me sympathetic that her husband missed the time when he was regular in the newspapers, a time which sadly no one even remembered. Seeing that cases of apparitions featured prominently in the press each day, he plotted so that the newspapers would draw their attention to him once more. He asked the servant to disguise himself as a ghost so that a well-respected metaphysic investigator, that is, me, would confirm the story to give it a luster of authenticity. What Sir Arthur Hoffman did not count on, however, was the wariness yours truly bears on his back in matters of fraud and deception. I promised that the theatrical author would once again feature in the newspapers, this time in the role of a fraudster, but the incessant pleas of Mrs. Hoffman dissuaded me from taking this story, which she never agreed with to the press. I am exhausted. Sometimes I wonder if all this is worth it. Yes, we are so incredibly good at this job. We are the well-respected investigator. We can tell when somebody's wearing a sheet over their head. It'd be cool if they took it off and there was actually nothing under it, though. That'd be surprising. The case of Westminster Abbey. With great secrecy, I was led to Westminster Abbey by request of Bishop Thomas Stevens. I was told that a great organ built by William Hill in 1848 played each night by itself, without human intervention. The sacristan, Anthony Hole, suspected the culprit was a ghost of the old organist, with whom they did not end up on good terms, as he was laid off due to his alcoholism. The new organist, Paul Latham, showed me that what a work of art the instrument is, a bulk of tubes and pistons that extend up to the ceiling. Given my ignorance in these matters, I asked him if it was not possible that the air came through the tubes and made the instrument play. He said it would be possible, but not with enough strength to play as loudly as it did during the night. He added that what you could hear was no melody, but a string of distorted notes that made one's skin bristle. The organist offered a small snack in the form of an excellent wine and delicious Swiss cheese, then asked me to attend his rehearsal, so that I could hear for myself the sound of the enormous instrument, and so that he could brag about his skill with the keyboard, I imagine. When he was finished, he asked me how I liked the piece he had just played. I did not know a lot about music, so the only thing I told him was that he had the same chunks of cheese in his bushy beard. He left annoyed, and I do not blame him. I am aware that my social abilities leave much to be desired. I miss Patrick, my colleague. My colleague knows how to connect with his fellow men. Really? Because I feel like a lot of people hate us. I don't know. In the early hours during my watch, I was sitting in one of the seats closer to the organ when I heard the cacophony emanating from the instrument. They were right. No one was at the keyboard. The acoustics of this place made the sound resonate through the room, making anyone who heard it anxious to some degree. Thinking I would finally catch a ghost, I drew near the organ, and could see a tiny mouse running along the keys, eating the bits of Swiss cheese that had laid on them. The organist received an ultimatum. Either he stopped eating cheese before rehearsing, or he shaved off his beard. He opted for the latter. Alright. I figured it was going to be something like that as soon as they brought out the cheese. What else we got? The Case of the Voices from Beyond. I don't know if any of this is at all important, but it's fun to read. Brian Stewart, a renowned psychiatrist and follower of Jean Martin Charcot, is a busy man reluctant to waste time writing up his research findings. To streamline this process, he uses a phonograph to record his notes for his assistant to translate later. He sought my help because strange distant voices mysteriously appeared on one of the cylinders. Stewart played the recordings for me, and after a brief silence of 2 or 3 seconds, I could hear them. They were nonsensical phrases. Some whispered. Occasionally, a word in Latin would emerge after a long silence. The voices of the psychiatrist would resume dictation for his assistant. While it's uncommon for indeterminate voices to manifest on the sound recording, this phenomenon is known as EVP, Electronic Voice Phenomenon. I suggested an experiment to Stewart, leaving the phonograph alone in the room to record ambient sounds in the hope of capturing those voices again. We tried this, but the device picked up nothing. I suspected that the phenomenon might only occur in the psychiatrist's presence, so repeated the experiment with Stewart speaking directly into the phonograph while I observed from the corner of the room. The esteemed psychiatrist, to avoid wasting another cylinder, used a recording to dictate notes on the case he had been working on for a few weeks. He spoke continuously for several minutes until he abruptly stood up, pacing the room and whispering random phrases and paraphrasing lines from the book De Secretis Malarium, oddly in Latin. I approached him and could see that he was in a semi-catatonic state. Another researcher might have concluded that the man was under possession of an entity from the beyond, but I am a professional. I examined him and confirmed that he exhibited all the symptoms of schizophrenia. I feel sorry for him, but I regret even more not having heard a real EVP. Okay, what's the last one? Case of the Haunted Attic. Mrs. M is a humble flower seller from Covent Garden struggling to support her family, including 3 children and a husband unable to find work. Just a few weeks ago, their greedy landlord raised the rent to an unaffordable amount. The family of 5 had to move to a small, dilapidated house on Benwell Street, previously occupied by an elderly couple who passed away a week before Mrs. M arrived. During the first nights in the new place, they heard 3 metallic knocks coming from the attic. Mr. M investigated, but he couldn't find the source of the sounds. Frightened, they sought my services to explain this strange occurrence. That same night, I went to their home and waited downstairs for the knocks to happen again. As expected, 3 metallic knocks echoed from the attic floor. I went up, accompanied by a terrified Mr. M, but found nothing there. However, 3 large boxes stacked in the corner caught my attention. When I shone my lamp up behind them, I was shocked to see a sight that will haunt me forever. A man around 40 years old, emaciated, chained to the wall by his ankles, devoid of tongue, eyes, and ears. Oh my god. That would look so weird. Oh. Surrounded by filth despite his condition, he somehow sensed my presence and struck the floor with a plate 3 times. Neighbors later identified this unfortunate soul as the son of the elderly couple, unseen since he was 15. It seems he had been living in the attic in such a deplorable state all these years, and the reason for his horrific punishment by his own parents remains a mystery. But there is one thing I know for sure. The living are to be more feared than the dead. Yeah, that's awful. Holy crap. Well, that was something. Let's just tuck those away and go about our day. If I need a ladder, I'll know where to find one. Sounds like we're gonna need a ladder. Better remember this. The shelf is full of tools, but I don't see anything that could help me. Well, you don't know that. You don't know that. This is a point and click. Alright, let's go. Let's get the hell out of here. Go get us some ectoplasm and such. Alrighty. Let's go to Florence. I forget what she has. Florence Cook herself, for example. She was studied by several researchers. Those who certified her as a fraud belonged to the London intellectual elite, several of them affiliated with the Conservative Party. Believe me, Mr. Taylor, when I say that our leaders are not interested in being aware of the truth. I'm not saying it is a conspiracy, but it is a conspiracy. I ain't saying, but I'm saying. Good afternoon. You're part of the group, I assume. Excuse me? The advertisement? I beg your pardon? I placed an advertisement in the British Association of Supernatural Studies newsletter seeking people to join me at Miss Cook's session. Only Mr. Morton and Mr. Taylor responded to the call. Tell me, did you also come because of the advertisement? Yes or no? Yes, of course. You're a terrible liar. I'm glad. I'm Joseph Brown. Patrick Moore. Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Moore. You don't have to worry about money. As I mentioned in the advertisement itself, it's all paid for. I appreciate that. I hope you don't think Kate King is a fraud, as they have tried to make us believe. Well, I suppose we'll find out soon enough. Yes, of course, that's the idea. Oh. Gentlemen, Miss Cook informs me she's ready. Remember to remain silent throughout the session. It is of utmost importance that no matter what happens and no matter what you see, you do not leave your seat. Will we see Katie King? I cannot ensure that, but it seems that this evening the medium's spiritual energies are in full swing. So, your wish will probably come true. Fascinating. If you'd be kind enough to join me. Just a bunch of frauds around here. You not going in, buddy? Are you nervous, Mr. Moore? Oh, yes, I'm shaking all over. I can offer you an opiate to calm your nerves. I usually carry some with me for medicinal purposes. But promise me you won't tell anyone. It won't be necessary. Shall we go in? Yes, of course. Are we gonna need those at some point? It seems like a random thing to bring up. I feel like those serve a purpose. I don't know. I suppose my niece has informed you of the guidelines to follow during this session. Know that communication with the spirit world is very delicate. Any unexpected event could result in the loss of the connection with the beyond. Therefore, allow me to remind you what you must not forget while the medium is in a trance. Cannot raise from your seat once the session has begun. If Katie King were to manifest, do not speak to her. She cannot see or hear you. She will only communicate through me. She's quite sensitive to what happens in this world, so try not to make any sudden moves. She could get scared and disappeared. If you wish to convey a message to her, address it to me. Even while in the trance, I will be able to hear you and transmit your words. Has everyone understood? Any questions or doubts before we begin? Do we have to put our hands on the table during the session? Do you have psychic powers, Mr. Brown? Me? No. I don't have any. Then let the medium be the one to place your hands on the table to channel psychic energies, alright? Damn, sass. Yes, of course. Let's begin. I'm surprised we didn't say anything. Usually we have things to say. Usually we can't keep it to ourselves. Katie King. Daughter of John King. You who left this life to join the world of the dead. You who have been living in the shadows ever since. I summon you, O wandering spirit. Let us witness your presence in this world to which unfortunately you no longer belong. Leave the darkness and join the living. Is it gonna happen? What the hell? Florence? Is that you, Florence? Oh, how amazing! I am here, Katie King. The sound of my voice will guide you to me. This is a weird, like, backtrack for this. It's not like the sound effects I was expecting. Feels very Wizard of Ozzy. The sound of my voice will guide you to me. Join us. The researchers were right. The manifestation emanates to the what? The manifestation emanates the scent of flowers. I feel life in this place. You are not alone. No, dear. I am accompanied by people who have come to see you. Who are they? I cannot see them, only feel them. Mr. Brown is with me on my right. Opposite me sit Mr. Morton and Mr. Taylor. And finally, Mr. Moore is on my left. Nice to meet you, gentlemen. Katie says she's pleased to meet you. We can hear her. Unbelievable. Katie King must be using all her energy to communicate with this reality. This is such a bad scam. At least the other lady, like, she kind of had the atmosphere going. This is just pathetic. Katie? Yes, Florence. My guests inform me that they can hear your voice. That is wonderful. Can I convey a message to them? Of course, dear. You are blessed to live in a world that, while not perfect, is full of wonders. Where I come from, there is nothing. Everything is dark. It is a lonely place. He's dead. Do not waste your lives on conflicts. Avoid problems. Live your lives as if each day was the last. Those are very beautiful words, dear. Does anyone wish to ask Katie King a question? Come on, Mr. Moore, you gotta say something. Something insulting. Like, this is a sham. That was weird. Gentlemen, Katie King exists. The session has been a success. We should celebrate. I know an exquisite restaurant not far from here. What do you think about going to the Regent Street Smokers Club instead? Good option, Mr. Morton. I know a brothel that... Mr. Taylor's option. You've heard Katie King. We must live life. Let's get moving, gentlemen. You heard her, boys. Let's hit the club. Where are we going? We got to talk to... What's her face? Florence. Yo, sup? The session's over, Mr. Moore. Do you need anything else? You were Katie King, weren't you? No, I don't know what you're talking about. You just had to change clothes and appear from the shadows. My good sir, I don't know what you're aiming at, but I beg you to leave. Forgive me, but my intention is not to cause trouble. My name is Patrick Moore. I am a university professor. I'm involved in metaphysic research along with my colleague Nelson Ward. Oh no, not again. I hoped I would never hear that name again in my life. I'm confused. Did you have trouble with my colleague? I will tell you the same thing I told Professor Ward. You will not get ectoplasm sample at the expense of my aunt's life. So you can... Enough, Charlotte. Wait, you actually have ectoplasm on you? But, Aunt Florence, I said enough. I've made my decision. If you'd be so kind as to step aside, I need to speak with this gentleman. You got that plasm? So you work with Professor Ward. That is correct. And where is he? Dead or something, I don't know, man. Fugitive from justice. We did not need the professor. I have no idea. Fugitive, he couldn't come. I have no idea. Has he disappeared? Yeah, something like that. I've taken over his research. If it's alright with you, let's get this conversation in order. My colleague left a note saying that you would provide an ectoplasm sample. That is correct. I do not mean to be rude, but I believe he made a mistake in thinking you'd be the right person for the job. Your reputation is questionable, Miss Cook. And what I saw in there confirms it. Forget what you have seen. Anyone except the group that you came with would know it's a crude setup. But Professor Nelson has a memory. It's something that is sadly lacking in all those who hear the name Florence Cook for the first time. What do you mean? I have not always been a fraud, Mr. Moore. When I was just a teenager, I contacted an entity who called himself Sergeant Hughes. I managed to materialize ectoplasm through my body, and this entity used it to communicate with me. I thought it was a good way to make a living. And it was, for the first few weeks. But with each session, Sergeant Hughes gained more strength, to the point of possessing my body. He became more and more violent. His intention was to invade this reality, a reality to which he did not belong. I managed to sever the link, but his last words were a threat. A death threat. It was then that I created Katie King. A contrivance, of course, but safer without risking my life. People didn't care, they were still amazed by the sessions. Since then, there have been several Katie Kings. I was the first, but logically I had to stay young. The latest Katie King, as you have seen, is my niece Charlotte. Do you understand now, Mr. Moore? My aunt can't do what you're asking. She could die if she invoked Sergeant Hughes. I'm sorry, I was unaware of this. It is not my intention to put you in danger. That doesn't matter now. I'm sick, Mr. Moore. Very sick. I've been given up on. Doctors have diagnosed I have no more than 2 months left to live. I want to do it. I don't want to leave this life without the world knowing that it was never fraud. So you're in luck. You will have your ectoplasm sample. I believe your niece is right. Invoking that entity could. It is my will, and you must respect it. I want the sample more than anything in this world, but I'm concerned about your safety, and I would like to have a clear conscience. You will. As I said, this is what I want. And mind you, I'm not going to summon the bastard without the presence of William Crooks. Crooks? The scientist who discovered the element thallium? Among other things, yes. When my name and Katie King's became famous, several researchers wanted to verify the authenticity of the phenomenon. One of them was a promising scientist and a member of the Royal Society. He validated the phenomenon, but he knew it was all a hoax. But he didn't want to discredit me in society's eyes. He was criticized and almost discredited as a scientist. I'd like to have him at the session. I have a lot to say to him. He was an important person in my life. Although I doubt he'll accept the invitation if my niece or I reach out to him. Tell me, Mr. Moore, can you get Mr. Crooks to come? Know that I won't lift a finger without his attendance. Yes, I'll try. He resides in Berkeley Square, Berkeley. Ask any coachman nearby and they'll tell you where to find them. Ding. Bring Mr. Crooks here and we can start the session. In the meantime, I'll begin the preparations. Alright, is there anything in this room I can shove in my pocket? But I'm worried about this. Didn't she say that the thing was trying to take over? Do you know that your selfishness will make my aunt die? Forget it. I'm outnumbered. Cannot fight against your greed and my aunt's stubbornness. May God's will be done. Like, didn't she say it was kind of risky though? Like, what if that ghost takes over and like kills us all? Oh, I guess Mr. Moore would be thrilled. There's several business cards on the tray. You can take one if you wish. See, there is stuff to shove in her pocket. Thank you. I bet this will help with that guy. I already have Florence Cook's business card. Okay, anything else that we can take though? Just take this painting off the wall. 1873 portrait of Katie King. She looks very young. Why is it so important for you to obtain an ectoplasm sample? We are creating a machine with which one can see the beyond. You should not insist on this matter when your aunt has been so clear. I don't think you understand the importance of this issue. We're creating a machine. Well, she might as well know, because we're gonna kill her aunt. We're creating a machine with which one can see the beyond. At the cost of a life. Is it worth it? Let the dead rest and let the living live. Yeah, well, whatever. We got things to do, lady. The flowers give off an intoxicating aroma. They are African lilies. Okay, cool. Anything else we can take? I don't think so. Listen, lady, we got things to do. Don't question our motives. There's some scientists— these are some of the scientists who investigated the phenomenon of Katie King. Mr. Crooks is the one in the middle. Can I take his portrait? Maybe I can ask him for an autograph? This reminds me of The Hill of Dreams by Arthur Machen? I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Oh my goodness, look at all these places. Let's go... yeah, let's go to Crooks first. I will inform Mr. Crooks. What did you say your name was? Moore. Patrick Moore. I can hear the radio. Mr. Crooks, a gentleman named Patrick Moore wishes to see you. He will attend to you right away. Thank you. Oh, that's nice. I thought we were gonna get the door slammed in our face. Yes, what do you want? My name is Patrick Moore. I'm a university professor. What field? Medicine. Nice to meet you. Although I came to you as a metaphysic researcher. An interesting pseudoscience. Certainly interesting, but unproductive if I may express my opinion. Mr. Moore, I am aware that I am known for having been involved in these matters in former times, but all that belongs in the past. I don't know how I could help you. I don't want to bore you with details, so I'll be brief. I'm completing a machine that will be a breakthrough in the field of metaphysics. You have my attention. Continue. But I need several elements to carry it out. One of them is a sample of ectoplasm that the medium Florence Cook could provide me. Florence. Did you say Florence Cook? Yes. I will save you some time, Mr. Moore. Florence Cook is a fraud. I also doubt her mediumistic abilities, although I have my reasons to give her the benefit of the doubt. That is your choice. Don't say nobody warned you. She asked me to beg you attend the session? What? Whatever. She won't do it if you're not present. No. I know that I'm not getting involved in this, sir. I've been nominated for the Nobel Prize several times and I was recently knighted. The last thing I need to do is be associated with these matters again. I'm sorry, I cannot help you. Come on, do it in the name of science. Won't take too much of your time. Aren't you curious to find out if Florence Cook isn't a fraud after all? That sounds like a good one. I thoroughly investigated Florence Cook, Mr. Moore. And believe me, that woman has no extraordinary powers. However, your conclusion about her was quite the opposite. It's very complicated. It's very complicated. You wouldn't understand. I don't want to be too harsh on her because it was... let's just say it was a dishonest act that jeopardized my credibility as a scientist. Did you have a crush on her or something? I could bring you blueprints of the machine I'm building. Yes, you've already told me about it. It runs on ectoplasm. Yes, well, not exactly. Spare me the details, Mr. Moore. Remember, you were talking to a scientist. Do it in the name of science, Mr. Crooks. Metaphysics is not a science. Chemistry and physics, those are sciences. Won't take too much of your time. I've already given you my refusal, Mr. Moore. Please don't insist. You said you were interested in the world of metaphysics. I also told you it was completely unproductive. May I give you some advice? Don't waste your time investigating these matters. You're young. Do you want to end up like those nutcases from Bass believing they've summoned? Oh, who's on this month? Cleopatra? St. John the Baptist? Ludwig van Beethoven. Oh, of course, Beethoven. I've had contact with an entity. Are you running out of arguments to try to convince me, Mr. Moore? As I've already told you, I cannot help you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to review the speech I will be giving at the headquarters of the British Confederation of Scientific Societies. I also only have a short time before the coachman picks me up. Good luck to you, Mr. Moore. Florence Cook is dying. Come on, I know you have a crush on her. Yeah, come on. What's wrong with her? She didn't specify what illness it is, but her life expectancy is months, weeks. She wants to see you before she dies. Is this emotional racketeering? Is that your final desperate argument to try to convince me? Oh no, I've already exhausted all my resources trying unsuccessfully to convince you a moment ago. I'm just conveying Miss Cook's words to you. I'll be frank with you, Mr. Moore. My mind is split in two halves. One is controlled by reason, and to it I owe becoming a respected scientist. Spirituality consumes the other half. That's why I became interested in the afterlife. I wanted answers, and that led me to investigate Florence Cook's case. At that time, she was considered the most authentic medium in London. The investigation lasted longer than necessary because we realized we enjoyed each other's company. We fell in love, Mr. Moore. I knew it! I concluded that Florence's powers were nothing but a hoax. It was obvious that Katie King was her, although no one else realized it. But even so, I was so in love with Florence that I wanted to cover for her and admitted that everything was real. Those claims shook my credibility. Even my career was at risk. Florence didn't want everything to end like that, so in an act of what I now see as bravery, she ended our relationship. She broke my heart. I haven't seen her since then. And if what you say about her illness is true, it is, believe me. In that case, my heart would break again if I were to see her in that state. I want to hold on to the memory I have of Florence. Full of life, full of light. Do you understand me? But please respect my decision. And please apologize to Florence for me. Wow, you suck. I mean, I get it, but like, she's also dying, man. I've taken a liking to you, Mr. Moore. You'll be welcome in this house anytime, even if I'm absent. Feel free to consult my library whenever you want. Do you know Deschain? No. Of course. I have several first editions on the second shelf. You'll find them interesting. Good afternoon, Mr. Moore. It's been a pleasure meeting with you. Alright, let's check out those thingies. The library is quite a treasure. It contains volumes that would be a dream of any antiquarian. Hello, Miss Maid. Excuse me. Yes. Couldn't you convince Mr. Crooks? That would be meddling in Mr. Crooks' affairs. It would exceed my duties. Okay. I need Mr. Crooks to accompany me to that session. I understand, but I'm sorry I can't help you. Where are they expecting Mr. Crooks? He has to give a speech at the British Confederation of Scientific Societies. The coachman should be arriving soon. There's nothing you can do for me, right? I'm just a simple maid, sir. Okay, carry on. Thank you, sir. Maybe if I give her that business card, it'll be like, hey, pass this on to the guy. No? I thought for sure. Okay. Well, there must be something I can steal. Bit of warmth is appreciated after spending the whole day walking the cold streets of London. Do I have anything in my pockets? Got a flask. Mirror? Mirror on the wall? Fatigue is starting to take its toll on me. The dark circles under my eyes are becoming more and more evident. Speaking of mirrors on the wall, have you all seen the Shrek trailer? I don't like the TikTok mirror. It looks really weird. It's very uncanny. I don't know, it just doesn't look like it belongs. Like, it just, like, it looks like an amateur, like, green screened it or something, like, you know, and just put the TikToks behind it, but it's like, it doesn't like give off a vibe of a mirror at all. I don't know. Very weird. It's weird because like Shrek 1, like, the mirror was believable, like, even if they made it into like a TV, but like, I don't like the TikTok mirror. It's just wrong. Maybe it's because they have like weird animations in it too, like, it's not in the universe's like art style. It's like just like stuff that they could have ripped off YouTube. It's like, why? I don't know, but that's nothing to do with this game, so let's move on. There's a sealed envelope inside that tray. Can I have it? It's for the coachman. It contains a card with the address where Mr. Crooks will give his speech. Ah, don't lay a hand on it if you please. I see what we have to do. I have to... The only way to open it would be to break it, and the maid would notice. What if I do something else? We need to break things. We don't want to throw that into the fire. We need to break things somehow. We need to give her something to do. I'll figure it out. Petunias. Sir, Mr. Crooks is reviewing his speech. I don't think he wants to be disturbed. Oh yes, I'm sorry. We need her to do something. We need her to get out of this room. Alright. We'll have to get back to it. I'm sure we'll find something else that we can use here. A distraction. Nelson... Silas? Photo studio? Let's go to Silas. Number 5, here it is. The London Archaeological Society. I hope Professor Silas Bennett can tell me something about one of the pieces from the box of Revelations. Well, let's look around first. I want to know about this lady in the wall. The ticket costs a penny. You can enter and exit the premises as many times as you like, so long as you keep your ticket. I don't have a ticket. Or a penny. What's this? Falk's Horror Books. The names of the most prominent horror story writers are displayed on the shop window as a lure. In this one I see Bram Stoker, Arthur Machen, Edgar Allan Poe. And in that one, William Hope Hodgson, Algernon Blackwood, and H.G. Wells. Let's go inside. I shouldn't waste time entering this bookstore. But this type of literature is one of my passions. It will only take a moment. Fancy schmancy. Welcome to my house. Come freely, go safely. And leave something of the happiness you bring. Dracula. Ah, I see you are one of us. One of whom? You know. Excuse me? An aficionado of fantastical and horror literature. Ah, yes, I am. Well, you've come to the right place. Feel free to peruse the store. We have it all. Poe, Wells, Verne, Blackwood, Machen, Bierce, Benson. You can also find the latest works by budding authors on the shelf behind me. I edit them myself, you know. Or if you prefer, test your knowledge by answering my queries on the subject. Oh, thank you. I don't read much, so I don't think this will go well for us. Good afternoon. Do you have Anna Karenina? Anna Karenina? Yes, by Leo Tolstoy. Tolstoy? How dare you come to an establishment to insult me? Excuse me? Here we only sell the good Tolstoy. Look, see. Who? The author of The Family of Vordalik, you ignorant fool. Go to one of those bookstores that shun the genre, and you will surely find what you seek there. I was just asking for... Close the door on your way out. You uncultured swine. You're insane. Alrighty. Anna Karenina? Ugh, disgusting. Let's look at the novelties. Lovelace Baby, the Steigen Pond, Allingham House, the Ouija board. Oh my goodness, so much to read. I'm probably not going to read all these books. We could have been 3 bored old ladies at another dull tea gathering, heaven forbid. Lillian had invited Margaret to her garden as a gesture of apology after mocking her amethyst necklace. Margaret has always been a bit resentful, so at Lillian's request I agreed to accompany them both to help smooth things over. I brought scones and sandwiches, and Margaret brought imported green tea from Benares. I was about to kick off the evening with the latest gossip when our hostess surprised us with one of those alphabet boards to communicate with spirits. She had pilfered it from Charles' cabinet, who was involved in the Golden Dawn. Quite audacious, that Lillian. But noble lady rummages through her husband's belongings. Oh well. Since she couldn't find the planchette, she tipped a teacup onto the wood and placed a finger on it. She'd seen that little act 1,000 times in Charles' sessions. Lillian urged the ghosts to manifest themselves. We went along with the joke as she began to slide the cup back and forth. But after a while I noticed something odd was happening. The cup hopped over the letters repeating 3 words incessantly: danger, cup, death. Lillian jerked her finger off the cup like a spring. Her skin looked pale, even under her robe. Margaret poured her some tea to calm her down. Had a bad feeling, but couldn't shape it until it was too late. Lillian started foaming at the mouth, her eyes glazed over, and her head slumped onto her chest. Margaret laughed like a devil. She didn't resist when the police took her away. They would find belladonna in the tea, or some other poison. It was only a matter of time. If I hadn't been so skeptical, I might have suspected that the Ouija was referring to Margaret's teacup, not the one Lillian was using as a planchette. But before they urged me to leave the crime scene, curiosity led me to place my finger on the board's cup and ask a simple question. Who are you? When the cup started moving and the letters spelled out a name, I knew I should have bitten my tongue. Lillian. This time it was me who burst into laughter. That was definitely impossible. I mean, how could someone communicate with themselves from beyond to try to avert their own death? Huh. Interesting. Actually, we might have to read these if we're gonna get quizzed by that guy. You know, he might give us something good. Besides, that was kind of interesting. I usually keep a file of newspaper clippings of events that catch my attention, but none can rival the strangeness of the enigmatic case of Allingham House. Here's a clipping I preserved. The fire at the Allingham House, bordering Clevedon Bay, has prompted communal recollection of the mysterious death of its owner, Helen Allingham, before the property was bequeathed to Helen's granddaughter and her husband. As later revealed, a thorough examination of Mrs. Allingham's body revealed greenish marks on her gums and under her tongue, ruling out chloria as the cause of death, as had been incorrectly diagnosed. This game has so much reading. I have to keep water near me. Weeks before her corpse was found in the armchair of the reading room where she had held her literary gatherings, the elderly woman had stopped receiving visitors due to a rare indisposition shared by the usual attendees. Testimonies confirmed that Mrs. Allingham had become obsessed with her new floral tapestries in shell green, the shade once popularized by the Swede Carl Wilhelm, which is currently facing devaluation in the market due to controversy over the toxicity of its arsenical components. She boasted that the luster of her walls, one of her acquaintances stated, she boasted about the luster of her walls. As if that were not sufficient, she varnished the paper with lead to achieve more vibrant green tones, ignoring our advice. She accused us of envy. Oh my god. It is presumed that the dampness of the jetty decomposed arsenic in the upholstery, causing vomiting and diarrhea among guests, and Mrs. Allingham's death due to prolonged exposure. The police investigation will determine whether the fire was deliberate or the result of the tapestry's flammability, but regardless of the result, it puts an end to the Allingham's couple's well-aired domestic crises. That cursed armchair. I scrubbed and scrubbed, but the green stain wouldn't budge. It lingered there, glowing in the darkness every night. Changing positions. Elizabeth Allingham declared, just before her husband dragged her away from the journalist, citing post-traumatic stress. Yeah, maybe don't decorate your house with arsenic and lead, no matter how pretty it is. The soot stains. It was an open secret. Arthur Black beat his wife. Oh. The Blacks were a working-class couple living in one of Glasgow's dirtiest neighborhoods. They lacked access to clean water and lighting, and their combined wages barely covered their needs. Bessie found it hard to recognize her husband in the blackened figure that returned home at night. He seemed like a shadow of himself in every way. In addition to being tough labor, chimney sweeping paid poorly. Every coin that fell in Arthur's hands bounced off the pub bar, and when Jin couldn't ease his troubles, he tried his luck with his wife. He would always deny it, but the soot marks on Bessie's bruises held an undeniable confession. It was said that Bessie was a good mourner because she vented her own pain at funerals. It was also rumored that she dressed in black not as a sign of dedication to her profession, but to conceal the stains on her clothes. Around the neighborhood, we speculated about what would finish off Arthur Black first, the alcohol in his liver or the soot in his lungs. What we all got right was the imminence of his death. To no one's surprise, Bessie shed not a single tear at his funeral. Widowhood seemed to promise a better life for Bessie, but nothing could be further from the truth. The night after Arthur's funeral, I approached her house. Driven by the screams, I found her crouched in the corner, pointing at the wall with her trembling finger. She claimed that her husband had returned, but all I could see were soot stains. The screams repeated night after night, but I became more concerned about the sudden silence. The Bobbies found her unconscious on the bed. She had attempted suicide by strangling herself with her own hands, judging by the marks on her neck. By the mark on her neck, not multiple. That'd be really weird. Bessie was admitted to Clayberry for her own good. The doctors restrained her to the bed by the legs and arms to prevent her from harming herself in a fit of hysteria, but it was futile. They couldn't explain the sooty trail of footprints in Bessie's cell the day they found her suffocated, tongue out, and even less black marks that reappeared on her neck. Oh, and even less the black marks that reappeared on her neck. That's a spooky story. The Lovelace, baby. Lovelace, like Happy Feet. I know the stir continues over my sudden resignation upon showing up in the state of an Alling police station last weekend. I also know that there are certain rumors swirling about what I saw at the Lovelace household. I'm penning these words under the potent painkiller I've self-prescribed, but I swear by God that the facts I'm about to relate are true and not in any way influenced by the drug coursing through my veins at this moment. Yeah, okay. I, Dr. Maximilian Price, state that the following is all I have to say on the matter of the Lovelaces. It will be subject to one and only statement I make or write on the subject. Upon seeing the ulcerated bosom of the corpse on the table, bosom? I dared to presume, without the need for tumor markers, that what had killed Lady Frances Lovelace was Paget's disease. I would have issued the certificate on the spot if not for the small detail that swayed my hand. Before delving into that, I must clarify that this was the second autopsy I had performed on Lovelace in a month. The Lovelaces had a 9-month-old baby named Enoch. Lady Frances, of course, adamantly refused to nurse the child, claiming that was something for animals. What the hell? Then what did you do with the kid? It's understandable that a woman of her standing would recoil from breastfeeding, but unfortunately Lady Frances had no tolerance for wet nurses either. She became hysterical when anyone touched Enoch. I suppose it was desperation that led the old-fashioned Lady Frances to confer her troubles to science, but she resorted to a feeding bottle, one of those nursing bottles that have become so fashionable. Unfortunately, the same dignity that prevented the lady from nursing her firstborn also hindered her in matters of cleanliness and hygiene. The Lovelace baby was found dead a few days later, with a bruised, swollen body due to bacterial infection from the rubber bottle tube. I myself signed the certificate with Mrs. Lovelace in attendance. This occurred a couple weeks ago. I hark back to the unpleasant memory to make you understand why. A certain detail in the purple pustule on Lady Frances's chest perturbed me greatly. To make you understand why I felt compelled to exhume the corpse of little Enoch well into the night. Doubts and paranoia overwhelmed me, even though I knew it was impossible. I cursed my curiosity for driving me to compare the teeth of that wretch with the course of small marks encircling the infected breast. Why did I have to do it? What? What? Wait, what? Is it trying to say that, like the baby, like, as like a little ghost baby came back and, like, breastfeed and also killed the mom? Or something else? Or was she feeding it the whole time, but, like, something weird and ghosty was happening with the infections or something? I don't know if I understand this story. Sounds weird. Oh, one more. Steigen Pond. Report from April 3rd, 1903, as featured in The Observer. The police investigation into the gruesome murder that occurred last Tuesday at Berkeley Square continues. Scotland Yard's handling of the case is facing fierce criticism from the Baron's family, who are pressing for the culprit to be found. Rumors abound that even the victim's identification presented serious difficulties. Algernon Thines has been described as a mass of bruised flesh and broken bones, purportedly bludgeoned with one of his own canes, found in pieces next to the corpse. However, what perplexes the police most are the abundant signs of murky and fetid sludge, found both at the crime scene and on the victim's body. The Baron was last seen alive in the early hours of Monday near the Thames, close to the opium den at Southwark Bridge, during his morning stroll with distinguished members of the Rifle Association. Witnesses claim that the drug addict, brandishing a filthy bag of coins, had the audacity to approach them seeking alms. The Baron responded with shoves and insults, accusing the man of robbing honest folk, before snatching his purse and sending him into the river with a blow from his cane, shouting, "Wretched scum." No one lifted a finger to save the unfortunate soul from the fermenting sewer many know as the Steigen Pond. Instead, the Baron was met with a chorus of applause. All refuse ends up in the river, after all. This location appears crucial to the investigation, as the trail of brown mud led Scotland Yard's agents to the foot of the iron bridge. However, as the tracks vanished into the river, it seems the case has hit a dead end. Several patrons of the Chinese opium den claim to have seen a noisome thing crawling to the Thames bank and disappear into its dark waters. They've emphasized that the stench, a guttural moan, and above all, the metallic clinking of a bundle carried by abomination. Authorities have chosen to dismiss this account as a mere collective hallucination induced by opiate consumption. Interesting. I hope reading all that was worth it. I'm ready to be quizzed, sir. I think. Is there more on this one? I recognize some titles from that bookshelf, such as Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. Have you perused it? Stoker did not introduce anything novel. Alright, quiz me. You mentioned I could test my knowledge. Indeed, about fantastical and horror literature. I'll ask you questions on the subject and you must answer correctly. What do I win if I answer all the questions correctly? An achievement. A what? An achievement for you if you answer them correctly. No one has aced them all. Oh. And anything else? My respect and admiration. Oh. Alright, let's do it. I'm gonna fail, but let's do it. Well, let's go. Ready? Yes. In which European river is the setting of Algernon's Blackwood's The Willows? I have no idea. The Thames? Incorrect. Damn it. What does the raven say to the protagonist in Edgar Allan Poe's poem of the same name? Nevermore? Correct. That was an easy one. Yeah. Which of these vampires novels was written first? Dracula, the Vampire, Carmilla, Varney the Vampire. The Vampire? Correct answer. Written by John William Polidori in 1819. A simple one to relax the nerves. Who is called Frankenstein? The creature or its creator? The creator. Its creator, of course, indeed. What can be seen in the picture in M.R. James' story, The Mezzotint? Tint? I have no idea. The mezzo. Cliff? Incorrect. What material is the golem made of in Gustav Meyrink's novel? Clay? Correct answer. What are the names of the children in Henry James' novel, The Turn of the Screw? Oh god. What would be an old name? Maybe Miles and Flora? Miles and Flora, correct. I knew it! Which ship brought Count Dracula to his home from his homeland to England or London, whatever. Why do I keep saying the wrong one for that? Dracula, Demeter, Narcissus, the Mary Celeste, the Pequod. Let's go with the Pequod. Wrong ship. Who wrote the horror story, The Signal Man? Well, Charles, no. Ambrose? Incorrect, damn it. What did lot number 249 contain in Arthur Conan's Doyle's story? I don't know, man. Nothing? Incorrect. In Arthur Macken's The Great God Pan, what is the name of the girl who participates in Dr. Raymond's experiment? Mary? The answer is correct. Let's get to know the authors a bit. What was the occupation of Edward Frederick Benson's father? Army commander? Incorrect. What age did Edgar Allan Poe die? 36? Incorrect. To whom was John William Polidori, the author of the... Vampire Physician? I don't freaking know. Is it a trick question? I feel like they put that in there just to trip us up. Percy? Oh, Percy Shelley. That is correct. See, I knew it! The husband of Mary Shelley, the author who conceived Frankenstein while the three of them were together at the Villa Diodati during... Bah. Correct answer. Right. Let us now turn to the tough questions. Dude, these were already tough. Oh, the previous ones were the easy ones. Which story does not belong to the horror genre? Count Magnus, The Burial of Rats, The Telltale Heart, and The Case of Lady Sannox. Telltale Heart? Written by Edgar Allan Poe. That answer is not correct. In Oscar Wilde's novel, who does Dorian Gray blackmail? Dorian Gray. Alan? Good memory. Correct answer. How many more years of life does the devil grant the protagonist Charles Maturin, Melmoth the Wanderer? I don't know. 50? The answer is wrong. What inspired E.T.A. Hoffman to write The Devil's Elixirs? I don't freaking know, dude. The Mysteries of Udolpho? The answer's not correct. Let's go with the penultimate question. One of these horror stories does not belong to Rudyard Kipling, The Mark of the Beast, They, The City of Dreadful Night, The Thing in the Hall. The Thing in the Hall? Correct answer. It's a story by E.F. Benson. We have reached the last question. Ready? I've been ready for a while. What is the name of the doctor who narrates the events in the story The Baby Lovelace? Oh, damn it. Dr. Chenard? Who? Incorrect. Oh, tough luck. You did not answer all the questions correctly. Some were quite challenging. That's where the thrill lies. If you wish to try your luck again, I'll gladly ask you the questions once more. I don't know if it's necessary or if it's literally just an achievement. Mary Shelley. It all started with her. I do not entirely agree with such a statement. There exist authors predating Shelley who delved into the realm of horror literature. Yes, of course. But Frankenstein is considered a turning point of the genre. Its success led to... Your discourse lacks precision. I advise against spreading inaccuracies with such levity. The annals of horror literature cannot be rewritten by a single erroneous fact. Whatever you say. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to imagine anyone being like the first person to start a genre, but I guess someone has to do it. It's just like... I feel like it'd kind of be hard to start the horror genre, because I feel like people just, like, would start it naturally just by, like, you know, like all those, like, children's, like, kind of, like, lesson stories or whatever that I think, like, are mostly from, like, Russia or Germany or something, where it's like, oh, the monster will come eat you in the night if you, like, stay up too late or whatever. It's like, I feel like those are kind of horror, but, like, they're not, like, I guess they aren't written out in an entire novel, but I don't know. I find it hard to be able to claim a whole genre to a person. From left to right, Matthew Lewis, Edgar Allan Poe, and I think Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. I think I read that. Is there anything in here? I see there are more books on the upper floor. I would like to take a look at them, but I have things to do. I shouldn't even be here. Is there anything actually in here for us to do, or is it just that quiz? I hope we don't need that. Whatever. Let's go talk to the archaeologist. The receptionist informed me that Professor Bennett's office is on this floor. It must be one of those two doors. Silas Bennett, an archaeologist. According to the plaques, these are the archaeological pieces found near the Amber Fort in the state of Rajasthan. Thomas Lester, restorer. Let's go to him first. No? Oh, okay. I know where the lost city of Z is. P. Fawcett. It'd be cool to be an archaeologist. I don't know. Get to go dig in the dirt every day. Look for bones and such. This is his door. Although I can't imagine there's like a surplus of dig sites to go to, but maybe I'm wrong. Professor Bennett? Is anyone there? Hello? Sir. Yes? Are you looking for Professor Bennett? Yes, I'd like to inquire about certain matters. I regret to inform you that I haven't seen him around here for days. Oh, do you know where I could find them? I believe he embarked on one of those dubious expeditions that cast doubt on our profession. Out of place artifacts. Bah! I think Professor Bennett made a mistake in pursuing this profession. Or worse, he has lost his mind. Oh, do you know when he will return? I haven't the slightest idea. Ask Oscar. Who? Oscar Koenig, his assistant. A promising young German who's unfortunately shares Professor Bennett's delusions. Do you know where I can find them? I have the office, but no one answered. He will be back, do not worry. If there's no other choice, I will come back later. Thank you for the information, Mr. Lester. Thomas Lester. Bond. James Bond. Okay. Oscar Koenig? There's no one inside. Okay, I guess we have to come back. Let's go elsewhere then. To the photographer, I guess. Or this shady alley. Nope, photo studio we go. Hello. I understand the situation, but now's not the right time to go see Patty. Oh, Patty's men. What? Listen here, lad. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Oh, yes, I apologize. Are you saying we want to keep Patty waiting? No, I'm not saying that. But understand, I'm in the middle of a photo shoot. The camera's loaded, I just need to touch up the deceased and... No, I won't be able to pay Patty if I don't do this job. The Perkins sisters pay well, you know. Mate, you have to photograph loads of dead bodies to pay off what you owe Patty. This place is getting on my nerves, Brian. Let's sod off. You heard me, mate. Corpse snapper. So shift it. What are you? Oi, this geezer looks familiar. I don't know what's going on here, but it seems like you two are in charge. Would you be so kind as to grant me a few minutes with Mr. Wood? Maybe he's a customer. Let me have a word with him. Shut it, snapper. Yeah, sorry. Request denied. And now move out of the way, unless you want us to move you. Good lad. Off you go. Is that a dead guy in that chair then? Just a moment, please. Now what the hell's going on? Miss Constance, Miss Adelia, please stay. It's all misunderstanding that we'll all sort out shortly. Do you want us to call the bobbies, Mr. Wood? No, Constance, no. Listen up, ladies. If you're planning to call the bobbies, let me know. Because if you do, I'll cut out your tongues so you can't. Oh. No bobbies, got it? Hey, you. We've wasted enough time. Let's scrap her. You heard him. Tongue or bobbies, which will it be? Oh, right. That's totally a dead guy in that chair then. Are you both alright? No. At least we've still got our tongues. This is a dead man. Yeah, that's so creepy. Oh god. He has empty eye sockets. That's awful. And we don't wish to remember our brother in such a state. The photographer said he would fix it. That's so weird. I wouldn't... If I was just standing around, like, waiting for a photographer with my sibling's dead corpse, just, like, set up kind of like a doll, like, I think I would have to go puke somewhere. Oh, I know. This is a weird, like, oh, God, no. Absolutely not. It shows an infant no more than a year old who appears to be asleep. That's so sad. Alas, he was not. Can you imagine bringing your dead baby here to get photographed? The camera stands prepared, loaded for the photograph. Pray tell, you don't intend to photograph poor Bertram in his current state, do you? What state? His eyes are absent. You cannot immortalize him thus. I wouldn't want to put the eyes in there. Ugh. I see nothing of interest in this piece of furniture. Perhaps the drawers hold some aid. Only photo albums. Let me inspect the other drawer. Any eyeballs? More albums of photographs. Okay. Securely locked. Lots of ladders around. This is similar to the one in the professor's workshop. Okay. Let's look in the briefcase. The briefcase is brimming with cosmetics. More fitting for a mortician than a conventional photographer. I'm deeply sorry for your loss. Thank you very much, sir. Where did they take the photographer? Seen that bold act of thievery, did you? What's the world coming to? King George should kick out all those Irish out of our land. They were Paddy's men, sir. It seems Mr. Wood had done business with the wrong person. Paddy? Who's Paddy? Where can I find them? How do we know, eh? Suggest we mix that lot. Suggest we mix with that lot, are you? I was just asking. Paddy usually operates in St. Gilles. Word is he runs his business from a tavern there. How do you even know that? Read it in the papers. Stick to the society's pages, sister. You read too much. Anyway, why are you so interested in those people? They're not our kind. They live among us, sister. The Irish, Italians, Poles, Oh, enough. What are you trying to tell me? Now we have to worry about them like we do the poor street children? We worry about the street children? Why do you think the proceeds from the charity market we organize every Christmas go to? Oh, who do you? This is not good enough, Constance. Excuse my sister Adelia, sir. Reading those progressive newspapers seems to have altered her conscience. I'm only saying that. Quiet, Adelia. This gentleman is not interested in your utopian fantasies. What happened to your brother's eyes? He gouged them out. What? He used to have violent outbursts. Though he saw things no man should. Thought he saw things. Paranoid delusional form of dementia. That's what the doctor said. Dementia was derived from syphilis. Shameless. I remind you, we're keeping that a secret. Do you want people to believe Bertram used to frequent brothels? Wasn't that the case? Of course that's how it was. But people of our kind do not do such things. And if they do, people do not need to know about it. Is that clear to you, Adelia? Jeez. I see you're carrying a bouquet of flowers, Miss Perkins. Violets. My brother's favorites. My wish is that he was photographed with them. Do you want me to place the violets in your brother's hands? Not yet. I'll do it when he's about to be photographed. I can put them in water. Do we even have water? Put them in water if you like. They might be spoiled. Don't insist, sir. I'll place them in Bertram's hands when he's about to be photographed. Okay. What will you do if the photographer does not show up? The undertaker himself will come to fetch Bertram in a couple of hours. Hope Mr. Wood's back by then. I would not count on it, sister. You're too pessimistic, Adelia. What do you think? She is pessimist, isn't she? Says you. You just went on this whole rant about, I don't know, being racist. And then you're like, don't be a pessimist. You sound pretty pessimistic yourself, lady. I hope the matter gets sorted out. I guess I gotta go find some eyeballs. I don't know. Whatever. So many places. St. Gills. I guess we'll go to St. Gills. Oh, we're gonna get beat up here. This place doesn't look friendly. An old Brook soaps and ad covering a carbosol soda one. Are you lost, mate? No, I know exactly where I'm going. Is that so? Surprisingly, they're dirtier than those at the Red Lion. Well, let's go in and get beat up, I guess. Oi, stop. Where do you think you're going? None of your business. Have a pint? Only strong drinks are served here. You don't look like you can handle even a glass of milk. So tell me, what brings you here? None your business. Oh yes, believe me it is. I'm asking you, where do you think you're going? I need to see Patty. And does Patty want to see you? I don't think he'll wait for me, but I must speak with him urgently. You don't seem like the kind of person who needs Patty's help. Actually, it's Eugene Wood who needs help. Eugene. Ah, yes, the photographer. He's dead. What? What? Or he should be by now. Oh, okay. That bloke has let Patty down, you know. And the boss does not take kindly to that kind of betrayal. Let me talk to him, please. I need him alive. Are you a copper? Who? Me? No. Never. Press? No, I'm just a simple university professor. Ha! A professor. This'll be fun. Go on. Tell Cillian you can see Patty. Thank you very much. I don't think this is a good thing. A professor from a university. I don't know about this, buddy. What the? Hey, you. Come closer. How did you get in here? The guy at the door gave me permission. Delkin's been letting in a lot of riffraff lately. I told him I need to see Patty urgently and that Carrion would allow me to see him. Carrion? Who the hell is Carrion? You don't mean Cillian. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, that doesn't seem like the right name. Oh, yes, Cillian, I'm sorry. All the names sound the bloody same to you, eh, bloody English? Cillian is that guy at the door. Oh, yes, I see. One moment. Is Larry Foley sending you? Who? Foley, the Catholic. I do not know who that is. The Taylor brothers. I'm not acquainted with them. The Bowery boys? I do not know any of the people you mentioned, sir. You don't know him, eh? Patty has many enemies, so hope you don't try anything you'll regret. Is that clear? Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not here to stir up trouble. That's the way I like it. There's Cillian for you. And remember, if you try anything foolish, I won't be walking out of here alive, I suppose. Aye. Sorry, my accents are kind of weird. I don't know an Irish accent. Hey, Paddy men. They're talking to each other. I should not interrupt them. Alright, let's go in there and get beat up. Cillian, right? What do you want? I need to see Paddy. The chap at the door said to talk to you. So the door bloke, eh? Hold on a moment. We're gonna die. He's gonna stuff us. What are you looking at? Looking at me? Nope, not anymore. Come with me. Woof woof. Stay put, Percival. Behave yourself, Percival. We've got a visitor. Cillian, here by my side. And yeah, come closer. I know this lad, Paddy. He was at the photographer's studio, and I reckon he was also poking around the Red Lion. Well, well. Seems you know us, but we don't know ye. Could you do us a favour of introducing yourself, sir? My name is Patrick Moore. I'm a university professor. Oh, professor. Are you here to give us a private lessons, Mr. Moore? Why is everything so dark in here? Does it intimidate you, Mr. Moore? I felt intimidated from the moment I walked through that door. The darkness. That chained dog looks like he's not eaten in weeks. I can't even see the dog. Not to mention the machete on the table. Everything in this room intimidates me. I have what they call a touch of photophobia, hence the darkness. As for Percival, he's just overly enthusiastic regarding the machete. Indeed, it's there to intimidate. I'm not here to give private lessons. Relax, Mr. Moore. 'Twas but a jest. I'm not here to cause trouble. From what Liam says, seems so. Your man commented that he has seen me at the Red Lion oh wait, that's me. Your man commented that he's seen me at the Red Lion in that Eugene Wood studio. Believe me when I tell you that the places I've been and what's brought me to talk to you have been purely by chance. I believe you, Mr. Moore. You don't fit the bill of my enemy. And if you were, I fear you wouldn't leave here alive. Aye, lads. Get to the point, Mr. Moore. What's it you'd be wanting from me now? I would like to be able to talk to Eugene Wood. If it's alright with you, of course. I reckon there's a bit of a problem. By now he should be pushing up daisies. Or maybe he's still kicking. Who knows for sure. You know what, Mr. Moore? Mr. Wood came to me because his business was going downhill. And I ain't surprised one bit. Who in their right mind wants to photograph a dead loved one? Can you picture it, Mr. Moore? Take a gander at my photo album, Mrs. Parker. Here's me, Uncle James, in his officer's uniform, and here's me niece, Violet. Ah, and here's a snap of me 4-year-old daughter's corpse. Repulsive. So I lent him a tidy sum to save his business. I respect their business vision, no matter how grim. One of me mottos is, if you want to make it in life, find something to sell and sell it. But time went by and he couldn't settle his debt. I gave him several chances before today. It ain't personal, but I gotta keep a business running. I'll be honest with you, Mr. Moore. Amongst my ventures are smuggling, prostitution, and extortion. I know this info would be good for Scotland Yard as a confession. But we know Mr. Moore here won't spill a word. Ain't that right, Liam? Aye, it wouldn't be in his best interest. In other ventures, I tend to turn a blind eye. A whore forgets to pay me. A couple of smacks and it's sorted. Some poor sod resisting extortion. A little scare and it's settled. But borrowing money from me pocket and not paying it back. Oh, Mr. Moore, that's a sin. And it's paid for with death. Like I said, it's nothing personal. I ain't got nothing against Eugene Wood. He's a fine photographer. I even asked him to snap photos at my daughter's wedding. But I gotta send these kinds of messages to those who want to take me for a ride, you know. And nobody takes me for a ride. Got it? You've made that quite clear. I'm curious, what's your interest in that corpse photographer? No, he doesn't owe me money. That we'd be fighting over the same money. That'd be no good. Private matter. I don't think Patty does private. I'm interested in one of his photographic plates. Do you fancy photography, Mr. Moore? It's part of my job, but my interest in that plate is of a scientific nature. I have no idea what you're talking about, and frankly, I couldn't care less. But I think you won't be getting anything out of that photographer. Is there nothing I can do? Is there still time for me to repay his debt? That came straight from the heart, eh? It was a desperate move. Yes, in fact, yes. However, I do not have the funds at the moment. But I'd be willing to get that money. Thought you were a man of means. They don't pay you much at the university, do they? You should do business with me. It'd be more lucrative. I prefer to stay on the right side of the law. A man of principles, Patty. £1,000, Mr. Moore. Interest included. That's the amount Mr. Wood owes me. £1,000? I still believe I can raise that much. I must do it. This is a life we're talking about. Who's taking care of Mr. Wood? Brian. Brian, the limp one. No, the other. May God have mercy on that poor bastard. Means he's been taken to the farm, eh? That place is far away. Ideal spot for screams not to be heard. Brian likes to take his time, doesn't he? Indeed. Before getting down to business, he likes to fill his belly and have a nap. I reckon it might be your lucky day, Mr. Moore. Cillian? Yes. Mr. Moore here is gonna make us happy by gathering £1,000 in a nice envelope. Tell me, who's at the door? Declan? Go tell Declan to get one of his lads. To run like the devil to that farm and tell Brian not to do anything until further notice. With any luck, Brian won't have started his job. Right away, Patty. Ah, we're so screwed. This is a horrible idea. That photographic plate must be very valuable to you for you to get a mix-up in this hot mess, Mr. Moore. It's a crucial part of a technology project I'm working on. Still, damn it, I'd do anything to save a life. Oh, we're dealing with an idealist. That's honourable, Mr. Moore. But take a look around you. Life in the city is worth nothing. £1,000 in Mr. Wood's case. Touché. Done, Patty. Alright. Mr. Moore, I reckon this situation's nothing but a fact of faith. You ain't sure if Mr. Wood's still breathing. And I ain't sure if you can come up with all that money. I hope you understand. I do. Alright, if there's ain't nothing more to add. Cillian, see Mr. Moore out, will ya? He's got a job to do. Yeah, I heard the boss. So hurry up. Oh, and the bill's in an envelope. Don't be daft enough to go flaunting the money out on the streets. What the blazes have you done? Let me see if I've got this right. Paddy gives you £300 to bet on one round Jack. The champion. Unbeatable. The one they call one round because he knocks out his opponents in the first round. And you bet on Walter Black. Why? I don't know. Those blokes told me I wouldn't have the guts to bet on Black. They wounded my pride, you know. Oh, for the love of God. What are you, 5 years old? Remember when I told you your pride would land you in hot water? Well, that day has come. What do I do now? The only thing I can think of for you is to beat yourself up till you disfigure your face. If Paddy catches you, tell him you're the slow cousin from Belfast. Disappear? Oh, aye. Because when Paddy finds out, he'll move heaven and earth to find you. Damn it. Curses. Guess you're right. I reckon I'll hide in... I don't want to know, you fool. I suppose this is no use to me now. But it's used to me. Oh yeah. Well, I guess this is goodbye. Be off with you, Michael. Well, what's yours is now mine. You're a dead man anyway. Damn idiot. I'll be taking that. Thank you. In the spittoon. Ew. Inside is a paper dropped by one of Paddy's men. It's a betting slip for a boxing match. Hell yeah. 1 round Jack versus Walter Black. The bet is in favor of the latter. But we can get into that place now. Do you know where the 1 round Jack versus Walter Black fight is taking place? if you know where the one-round Jack versus Walter Black fight is taking place. Why? You gonna place a bet? I don't know, I've never bet on any game. For God's sake. The fight's happening down at the docks. There's a warehouse near the old Warburton factory they fixed up for the boxing matches. Nice. Okay. Like, do I need anything else from here? No, I already did that. Freshly baked, smells delicious. Yes, doesn't it? Looks appetizing. Irish bread. Bloody hell, when I was a prisoner in Majuba, they fed us the same food as the pigs. And it still tasted better than English food. May I have a piece? Keep your hands off the bread, it's for the boys. The boys. Alright. Hey! Leave Fergal alone. He's not having a good day today. I didn't mean to bother him. Good, otherwise you'll find out why they call him the Butcher. Oh god. The Butcher. Time to go. Or can I talk to you at all? Do you be wanting a drink? I do indeed. Yeah, then be off to another tavern. Here I only serve patties, man. Alrighty, bye. I can't believe we're so stupid. It'd be easier to just break into the photographer's, like break the door down. He's gonna be dead anyways, you know? Why put us in debt with Patty? It's a horrible, horrible idea. Whatever. But let's go... Where was it? Was it... St. Gil's? Silas Bennett's office? I think it was St. Gil's. No, you're just at St. Gil's. Duh. Get me back. Somewhere else. William Crook? No, that was his house. It was the office then. Duh, I'm stupid. Those old books keep a track and dust. By the way, is Mr. Crook still at home? Aye. Okay, I don't need that. I need to go. Here. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Can I go in here? I have a ticket. Oh. Can I just go in? Oh. This is not the thing? Oh, it's a film. Damn it. Okay. Well then I guess I can't do that. I guess we have to go to the docks then. Yeah? Hob and Henry. I think he's gonna need a better ladder. Oh no, he's got a walker? Or no, those crutches. I don't know. What time is it? Oh, I have to stop. Okay. So that's all for this one. I mean, as much as I'd like to break down that that photographer's door and just steal all of his stuff, like I'm guessing it's like a secret plate somewhere that he has, like a special super secret one, like, because otherwise you could just buy any old plate off the street. So I'm guessing there's something unique about it and that we actually need to get this guy. I still don't think it's great to give us his debt though. I feel like, I don't know. I mean, we know where that guy is. Could we just like sneak onto the premises of that farm and just be like, psst, hey, hey, where's your photography plate? I don't know, but I'm hoping I don't actually have to get that quiz for the horror books, right? Because that seems like it would take forever. I'm thinking it's just an achievement though. I wish I actually read books. I mean, I read books, but not like real adult books. I read like light novels and stuff, so I don't know. And I definitely don't read horror, but let me know if any of you are actually able to get like any of those questions right, or if all of them. I don't know. I feel like my friend could do it. She's Bloody Siren. She's really into horror books and stuff, so I don't know. Maybe she could do it. I don't know if she read all those though. She's read Frankenstein, I know that for sure, but I don't know. That's all I have to say for now. So let me know what you think of the game down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. This is Casper Kuma. Over and out.